This is workout number 1 that made my arms explode. Only 6 exercises. Big arms are one of the most desired goals men aim for at the gym, and also one of the workouts they enjoy doing the most. However, due to some common mistakes, most men fail miserably at this goal. Among these mistakes, the main ones are certainly doing inadequate volume, not having good periodization, and not knowing the anatomy of the triceps and biceps, choosing wrong or repetitive exercises. That's why today you will see the best workout for arms, composed of 6 main exercises, and an additional movement that I personally never see anyone performing. Before we start, tell me in the comments your name and how long you've been training. We'll start the video with biceps exercises, but first you need to understand the basic anatomy of the biceps. It is made up of 2 main heads, the long and the short, in addition to the brachialis muscle, which lies just beneath the biceps. To fully activate these 3 parts, we need a specific strategy based on elbow positioning. When your elbow is behind your body, you better activate the long head of the biceps. With the elbow next to the body, you work both heads and the brachialis. And when your elbow is in front of your body, you emphasize the short head more. An efficient workout needs to address all 3 positions for a complete and harmonious arm development. Let's now go to the 6 exercises that will revolutionize your arm training. Exercise number 1, Incline Bench Dumbbell Curl. The incline bench dumbbell curl is a true game changer for those seeking more voluminous arms. The secret of this exercise lies in its ability to isolate and emphasize the long head of the biceps, a fundamental component for creating that peak appearance in the muscle when you contract your arm. This exercise makes up the part of the elbow behind the body in our training strategy. When you position yourself on the incline bench, your elbow naturally sits slightly behind your torso, which puts the long head of the biceps in a position of greater tension and stretching. This position allows more intense work precisely on the portion that gives that rounded look to the biceps. To perform it correctly, sit on an incline bench at approximately 45 to 60 degrees. Hold a dumbbell in each hand with your arms extended at your sides. The elbows should be slightly behind the torso due to the inclined position. Keeping the elbows fixed in this position, flex the forearms, bringing the dumbbells up to shoulder height in a controlled movement. The crucial point here is to rotate your wrist at the top of the movement so that the pinky is higher than the thumb, maximizing the contraction. You'll know you're executing correctly when you feel an intense burn, specifically in the outer part of the biceps, indicating that the long head is being properly activated. It should also be possible to visually notice greater volume in this region during contraction. I recommend 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. If you can't complete 8 repetitions with good form, decrease the weight. On the other hand, if you're performing more than 12 repetitions easily, it's time to increase the weight. Remember that the eccentric phase should be controlled, taking about 2 seconds for an ideal hypertrophy stimulus. A common mistake I see many people make is swinging the body or moving the shoulders to assist with the movement. This drastically reduces tension on the biceps and transfers effort to other muscles. Another frequent error is not taking advantage of the full range of motion, especially not allowing the biceps to fully stretch on the way down. Number 2, hammer curl. The hammer curl is one of the most underestimated exercises in arm training, but certainly one of the most efficient. What makes this exercise particularly valuable is its ability to work not only the biceps, but also significantly strengthen the brachialis muscle and forearm muscles. This movement makes up the part of the workout where the elbow is next to the body, allowing balanced muscle recruitment between the biceps heads. The true differentiator of the hammer curl, however, is in its emphasis on the brachialis muscle. This frequently neglected muscle is positioned under the biceps and contributes significantly to the total arm volume when well developed. To perform it correctly, stand with a dumbbell in each hand at your sides. The hand position is what differentiates this exercise. Hold the dumbbells as if you were holding hammers, with palms facing each other. Keep your elbows fixed at your sides and flex your forearms, bringing the dumbbells to shoulder height in a controlled movement. Take a brief pause at the top of the contraction to maximize the stimulus. The beauty of this exercise lies in its ability to also strengthen the forearm, specifically the muscles responsible for supination and pronation of the wrist. This not only contributes to aesthetics, but also to functional strength in pulling exercises. You'll know you're doing it right when you feel activation not just in the biceps, but also in the inner part of the arm and in the forearm. A clear sign is when you notice that fatigue affects both the front and side of the arm. A common mistake is allowing the elbows to move forward or backward during execution. This changes the working angle and reduces the efficiency of the exercise. Another frequent error is using body momentum, swinging the torso to assist with the lift. Remember, it's better to reduce the weight and maintain impeccable technique than to compromise execution. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to science-based information is what will help you progress with health in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. Number 3. Scott curl with dumbbells. The Scott curl with dumbbells is our strategic exercise to complete the total development of the biceps, focusing on the part where the elbow is positioned in front of the body. This positioning especially favors the activation of the short head of the biceps, creating that appearance of full arms even when viewed from the front. What many people don't know is that this exercise offers a fundamental advantage: the almost total elimination of compensatory movements. The Scott bench provides a stable support that perfectly isolates the biceps, making it practically impossible to cheat during execution. To perform it correctly, sit on the Scott bench, adjusting the height so that your armpits align with the upper part of the support. Hold a dumbbell in each hand with arms extended and resting on the bench. Keeping the elbows fixed on the support, flex the forearms, bringing the dumbbells toward the shoulders. Make a maximum contraction at the top of the movement and lower in a controlled manner. You'll know you're executing correctly when you feel an intense activation in the front of the arm, especially close to the shoulder, indicating work on the short head of the biceps. The burning sensation should be quite localized, without dispersion to shoulders or back. For this exercise, I recommend 3 sets of 6 to 10 repetitions. The smaller repetition range is due to the fact that we can generally use slightly higher loads in this movement. Again, adjust the weight as needed to stay within this repetition range. A crucial error to be avoided is fully extending the elbow at the end of the movement. Although it's important to stretch the biceps well for a complete workout, full extension in the Scott curl can increase the risk of a biceps tendon rupture, especially when using heavy loads. This type of injury usually can only be corrected with surgical intervention, so maintain a slight elbow flexion even in the lowest position of the movement. The choice for dumbbells instead of the traditional EZ bar was strategic. Dumbbells allow for correcting possible muscle imbalances between the arms, something impossible with the bar. Additionally, dumbbells allow for a more natural wrist rotation, reducing stress on the joints. If you don't adapt well to the Scott curl, an excellent alternative is the spider curl, a slightly more advanced movement that also positions the elbow in front of the body. In this exercise, you lean over an incline bench and perform the movement with your arms hanging, which creates a similar angle to the Scott bench. Number 4. French press with dumbbells. The French press with dumbbells, also known as the overhead triceps extension with dumbbells, is one of the most efficient exercises to develop this musculature that represents approximately 2/3 of the total arm volume. The beauty of this exercise lies in its ability to simultaneously activate all 3 heads of the triceps, with special emphasis on the long head, which is the largest of the 3 and the one that contributes most to that horseshoe appearance on the back of the arm. By positioning the extended arm above the head, this movement places the long head in a maximum stretch before contraction, which enhances its results. To perform it correctly, you can do it seated on a bench with a backrest or standing. Hold a dumbbell with both hands, forming a diamond with palms facing up, supporting the base of the dumbbell. Raise your arms so that the dumbbell is positioned above or slightly behind your head, with elbows pointing forward. This will be your starting position. Keeping your arms and elbows stationary, lower the dumbbell by flexing only the elbows until it comes close to the nape of the neck. Pause briefly in this stretched position and then extend the elbows, returning to the starting position through the triceps contraction. The movement should be controlled both in the descent and ascent. We chose the unilateral version for the same reasons mentioned in the Scott curl: the possibility of correcting imbalances between the arms and a more natural range of motion, reducing stress on the elbow and wrist joints. You'll know you're executing correctly when you feel an intense and localized contraction on the back of your arms, especially in the region near the armpit, which is where the long head of the triceps originates. Additionally, the sensation of stretching in the lower position should be quite noticeable without causing joint discomfort. A common mistake I see many people make is moving the elbows forward and backward during execution. Remember that the elbows should remain fixed, acting as an axis for the movement. Another frequent error is using an excessively heavy weight, which leads to compensation with the shoulders and drastically reduces triceps activation. I recommend 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. If you can't complete 8 repetitions with good technique, reduce the weight. If you exceed 12 repetitions easily, increase the weight. Especially control the eccentric phase, taking about 2 seconds to fully descend, thus maximizing the hypertrophy stimulus. One aspect that is frequently neglected in this exercise is the importance of keeping the wrists firm and aligned. Flexed wrists can transfer part of the tension to the forearm and reduce work in the triceps. Keep them in a neutral position throughout the execution. Number 5. Cable kickback. The cable kickback is a movement that anyone who has never done it will certainly be surprised by the intensity of the activation. This exercise has the unique ability to isolate the triceps in a way that few others can, generating an exceptional neuromuscular connection with the muscle. We chose the cable and not dumbbells because of the constant traction of the cable, something fundamental for muscle hypertrophy. The continuous tension provided by the pulley keeps the triceps under stress throughout the movement, without the dead spots that can occur with dumbbells. Additionally, as we've already included the French press with dumbbells, this cable variation diversifies the stimuli for a more complete development. To perform it correctly, position yourself laterally to the pulley, adjusted at abdominal height. Grab the handle with one hand and step slightly away, keeping your feet aligned with your shoulders. Lean your torso slightly forward, keeping your back straight, and position your working arm with the elbow flexed and close to the torso. This will be your starting position. The movement consists of fully extending the forearm backward, using exclusively the strength of the triceps. The crucial point is to keep the elbow completely stationary, close to the side of the body. Make a maximum contraction when the arm is fully extended and slowly return to the starting position. It's important to highlight that it's perfectly normal to use relatively low weights in this exercise, often less than 10 pounds, even for advanced practitioners. This occurs because the extreme isolation of the triceps eliminates the contribution of other muscles, revealing the true strength of this musculature. Don't worry about the amount of weight, focus on the quality of the contraction. A fundamental aspect to maximize results is the control of the eccentric phase. Instead of simply allowing the cable to return, actively resist for 2 to 3 seconds. This technique significantly intensifies the hypertrophy stimulus. You'll know you're executing correctly when you feel a localized and intense contraction exclusively in the triceps, without perceptible involvement of the shoulders or back. The sensation should be that the muscle is working in isolation, generating a characteristic burn. A common mistake is allowing the elbow to move away from the body during execution. This drastically reduces the effectiveness of the exercise and can overload the shoulder. Another frequent error is using body momentum to move the cable, which transfers tension to other muscle groups. I recommend 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. As in the previous exercises, adjust the load to stay in this ideal repetition range. Remember that perfect execution is much more important than the weight used, especially in this movement. Number 6. Triceps rope pushdown. The triceps rope pushdown is a great exercise for the triceps in general, and especially effective as the final movement of our workout. It has the unique ability to recruit all 3 heads of the triceps simultaneously, with a particular emphasis on the lateral and medial heads, perfectly complementing the previous exercises. This is a movement that allows for an exceptional mind-muscle connection, which means you can really feel the triceps working intensely throughout the full range. Additionally, the rope offers a freedom of movement in the wrist that reduces joint stress and allows for a more complete contraction at the end of the movement. To perform it correctly, position yourself in front of the high pulley, holding the rope with both hands, palms facing each other. Keep your elbows flexed and close to the sides of your torso. This will be your starting position. Keeping your elbows absolutely fixed, extend your forearms downward, slightly separating the rope ends at the end of the movement. This slight abduction at the end amplifies the contraction, especially in the lateral and medial heads. A frequently neglected aspect is the importance of the opening movement of the hands at the end of the extension. Many practitioners simply extend their arms, keeping their hands parallel, when in fact spreading the rope ends significantly intensifies the contraction. You'll know you're executing correctly when you feel an intense and localized burn throughout the triceps, but especially in the lateral and lower parts of the arms. The sensation should be that the muscle is being sculpted with each repetition. A common mistake is allowing the elbows to move away from the torso during the movement. This drastically reduces the effectiveness of the exercise and transfers part of the effort to the shoulders. Another frequent error is excessively leaning the torso forward, which also compromises the isolation of the triceps. I recommend 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. As in the previous exercises, adjust the load to stay in this ideal range. Remember that, as it's the last exercise of the workout, your triceps will already be pre-fatigued, so it's perfectly normal to use a lighter weight than you would normally use if this were the first movement. Control of the eccentric phase is particularly important here. Actively resist on the return, taking about 2 seconds to allow the elbows to return to flexion. This technique significantly intensifies the hypertrophy stimulus and maximizes the characteristic pump at the end of the workout. A valuable tip is to experiment with different pulley heights for this exercise. The traditional position is with the high pulley, but you can adjust it to a medium height for a slightly different stimulus, emphasizing even more the lateral and medial heads of the triceps. Number 7. Bonus exercise. If you believe that the triceps is a weak point and want to give even greater emphasis, there's a 4th exercise that can be added, and this movement is the close grip bench press on the bar. The close grip bench press is the only movement, I repeat, only movement, scientifically proven, that can target that part of the triceps that looks like a horseshoe. This exercise uniquely activates all 3 heads of the triceps, with a special emphasis on the medial head, which is responsible for giving that horseshoe look when the arm is viewed from behind. Most conventional exercises cannot reach this portion with the same efficiency. Including this movement in your routine is what will give that special touch to your triceps, a differential that very few people will achieve, even among advanced practitioners. You can split this workout we've covered in 2 different ways, adapting it to your routine. The first option is to distribute these exercises along with your main chest and back workouts. For example, on Monday, you do your back workout and add 2 of the 3 biceps exercises we listed. Then, on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, you complete it with the remaining biceps exercise. Similarly, on Tuesday, do your chest workout adding 2 of the 3 triceps exercises, completing with the 3rd on another day of the week. The second option is to dedicate a specific day just for arms, performing all 6 exercises sequentially. If you choose this approach, I recommend alternating between biceps and triceps to not prematurely exhaust a single muscle group, optimizing the performance and quality of the workout as a whole. If you enjoyed this and also want to discover the chest workout that finally gave me a respectable chest, we have a video appearing right now on the screen showing better which exercises make up that workout. Be sure to check it out. Thank you for watching this far, and God bless you, my friend.